there. And Isaac McKneely is one of those three-point specialists. He's a transfer from Virginia, where he played 3 seasons. Opening tip controlled by Louisville in the white, Boston College in the traveling maroon and gold.
Handling the ball right away for Louisville is Kobe Rogers. He gets the start for Conwell being out. Adrian Wooley's been getting the start for Mikel Brown Jr. going out.
It is the first start of the season for Rogers. Boston College quickly in transition. 4-3, and it's Taves.
Well, as I was saying, the key is for Boston College to make a lot of threes. Luka Taves, 55% of his shots come from behind the arc.
BC as a team, 29% from beyond the arc at the bottom of the conference, as that one bounces out from the corner by Wooley. 16 made threes now on the season for Luka Taves, the sophomore from Tokyo, Japan. He played his prep ball at the Newman School in Boston. Shot clock down to 10 for BC. Kapke will launch another 3 and hit the front rim.
See how much clock BC work. That's going to be their plan all day if they can do it.
11-4 record on the season for Louisville, 1-2 in conference play, and a miscommunication as Hadley throws it out of bounds.
I think we're going to see a good amount of that with 2 of their guards being out. Earl Grant from Boston College in his 5th year. He spent 3 years at the College of Charleston, and when he left Charleston to go to BC, Charleston made a very smart hire in Pat Kelsey. So these are 2 ships passing in the night now doing battle here. KFC Young.
A couple of seasons ago to the NIT tournament for Boston College. However, they did not qualify for the ACC tournament a year ago. Back to Louisville. Cards made it to the championship game of the tournament in Charlotte last year and lost to Duke in that title matchup. What a turnaround from 2024 when they won just 3 games in the ACC all season.
Sananda Fru, junior from Berlin. I believe that's his 3rd made 3 on the season.
He is now 3 of 5 for the total body of work.
Just increased his total by 50%.
Taves on the money again, Seth.
Talking to Earl Grant last night, he was talking about how he needs Luka Taves to be a little bit more of a setup guy, but 2 buckets early on.
Taves had his big game against Fairleigh Dickinson with 21 points and a career high as Louisville comes right back, ties it at 5. Soft bounce, and it falls for Fred Payne.
Fred Payne had a really good game against North Carolina State. Career high 24, was 1 for 13 the game before against Georgia Tech.
McKneely missed the 3. BC in transition. A 3 of their own, and it bounces out of bounds and back to Louisville.
Not crazy about that shot without anyone to rebound. There's Pat Kelsey in his 2nd year. What incredible energy he's brought to this program, this city, this arena. Just needs his guys to get healthy. Needs a magic wand of some sort.
He's in his 14th season as a head coach. Should he win the game today against BC, it would be career victory number 300 for Pat Kelsey. 38-12 as the head coach of the Cards. Twisting shot and a miss. Off balance from Hadley. Wanted the foul, did not get it. A.J. Desai, Jeff Pawn, Ben Sturt are officials this afternoon. Taves. A lot of dribbling. Size disparity doesn't stop Taves.
The Luka Taves game does the too small gesture for Sananda Fru. Had him on skates out there.
Fru is 6'11", by the way.
Yeah, he looks pretty tall to me.
This is Fru driving down the lane, trying to respond, and a foul was called as Fru hit the deck of the baseline.
Fru is really good about that, by the way, putting the ball on the deck and forcing the action. But as you can see, for a guy who's 6'11", not a great 3-point shooter, but you got to honor him out there because he's a good passer. Pressure him, and he can definitely dribble it.
Free throw line is a strength of this Cardinals team. 77% as a team, 3rd in the ACC. Fru is 67% from the line on the season. Rogers leaves the game for the Cards. Some changes for both lineups. Kanai Roots comes into the game. He's number 9 for Louisville in white. Fru has 1 of 2. Don't forget, game 2, Stanford and Virginia on deck right after us on CW courtside Saturday. This is a huge day. All 18 teams in the conference in action today.
Much improved ACC.
Shot clock to 10. Taves trying to direct a little traffic. Fred Payne late on the shot clock. Needs to get the shot away and does. That did not hit the rim. Louisville has control and out on the run. The feed and the jam. Hadley slams it through for the Cards.
Great finish by Hadley, and it underscores how important it is for BC to execute well in its half-court offense. Every missed shot Louisville wants to get out and go.
Taves said to kick it out. Hand. That's a 3-ball for BC.
He's looking over at the Louisville bench. Don't want to do that, but good to see him make one. When Hand and Payne are cooking, BC can be a problem, but it's all about maintaining pace, and now you see Hand getting active on the defensive end.
Poked it away from Roots. It will be Louisville basketball when we come back with BC in front.
This is how you finish at the rim. Javon Hadley getting up top. Good one early on at the Yum. Cards down by 4.
Season for BC and Louisville. Boston College has actually won 4 of the last 5. Last year, Pat Kelsey took his team to Chestnut Hill and won at Connie Forum. It was an 84-58 win for Louisville in dominating fashion. BC last win here in Louisville in the series, March of 2024, a 67-61 victory. Set they actually met in the 1966 NIT, and it went to triple overtime.
I was there. I covered it.
Won by the Eagles.
I wrote an online column after that game, and I texted it to all my buddies.
Triple OT at the NIT back in 1966. With some historical perspective. Kapke drew the double. Payne with the shot clock at 5. A runner. It was a bit of an old school 1966 shot, and it bounced out for Payne.
Got the late clock good look, which is what they want. Just couldn't get it to go. He's an unusual player in that he shoots his long-range shots with his left hand and his close-up ones with his right, Freddie Payne.
Hadley trying to work on the block. Kapke defended and got it. Boston College lost on Tuesday at home to NC State, 79-71. However, the metrics for BC in that game set were good. They shot 51% as a team.
Too many turnovers. Season high 16. 14, and NC State really beat them in points off turnovers. That's why they won the game. BC all about taking care of the ball for BC.
Yeah, they made 9 threes. They out-rebounded NC State as well. Taves was fouled on the shot.
The Luka Taves game early on. I like his confidence with the basketball. As I mentioned when I talked to Earl Grant last night, he wanted him to be more of a setup guy, but he's hunting his shot. He's got 11 points in his last 3 games, 7 already today, and now going to the line.
He's only been to the line 7 times this season, 5 of 7 for Taves. Journalist and author Katie Pavlich joins the only network that is news for all Americans, News Nation. Push through the left-right bias and get straight to the facts. On Katie Pavlich tonight premieres January 19th, 10/9 Central on News Nation. To find News Nation on your screen, go to newsnationnow.com. The headline today in the first half, BC has the lead on the road. The Eagles so far this season away from Chestnut Hill 1-2 and 0-1 in conference play.
And it's not surprising that Louisville's half-court offense looks pretty disjointed, not only without Mikel Brown Jr., but no Ryan Conwell today, the leading scorer, out with an injured knee. He was a game-time decision. So we're waiting to see if the G League recruit London Johnson enters the game at some point. I certainly expect that he will. Technically, he is a red shirt until he steps into the game. Once he is in the game, he has lost the season. So even though they say, well, they're activating him, there's no NBA equivalent to activating a player in college, but they have made the decision he will not redshirt. And talking to Pat Kelsey yesterday, he was pretty affirmative that if Ryan Conwell wasn't going to play, that London Johnson would. So I expect we'll see him at some point.
Fred Payne with a little runner for BC. He averages over 13 points per game. Second on the team in scoring behind Hand. Driving to the rim and scoring. Wooley has it after he committed an offensive foul on the previous possession for Louisville.
That's just straight up bully ball. Chase Forte can't handle him down there.
Sophomore from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Adrian Wooley, and a transfer from Kennesaw State. Payne trying to work the baseline. Kapke able to save it and score it.
Beautiful pass from Fred Payne.
Bowden Kapke, bit of an X factor for this BC team. He's now started the last 2 games. Averages almost 9 points per game. Rebound taken in by Shaw.
Ali Khalifa hit 5 threes in the Duke game, 4 in the first half. He had made 5 all season coming into that game. He made 4 in the first half, staked them to a 10-point lead, but once Louisville cooled off from 3, Duke was able to make its comeback. But Khalifa was unbelievable, especially in that first half.
In just 20 minutes off the bench, he was 5 for 5 and 3-pointers, and Rogers connects for Louisville.
That's a big 3 because it came out of the half-court offense. And Louisville's going to have to execute some half-court today because BC is going to be very intent on managing this tempo.
Rogers coming back after a knee injury, missed all of 2025, and now has his 7th made 3 of the season. Payne with a little daylight for Boston College for the lefty.
Boston College, all kinds of offensive confidence right now. 8 for 14, 57%. And by far the worst offensive team in the ACC coming in.
Way above their season average of 40% shooting for the year for BC. Cardinals trying to go backdoor into the corner. Roots. Kapke on the weak side, uncontested.
Now 2 for 8 from 3, Louisville.
And BC did not get it across midcourt in time.
Without any defensive pressure, a 10-second violation. Now we have truly seen it all.
Chase Forte in disbelief for the Eagles. Back inside KFC Yum Center as we look forward to the first Saturday in May. Last year's winner, Sovereignty at the Derby. 19-13 BC shooting the lights out so far, Seth.
Yeah, and that's definitely top of mind game plan for BC. If you shoot a high percentage of Louisville, obviously you get the points, which is great, but along with that benefit is it takes out their ability to run. And there you see London Johnson. He's the guy we've been talking about. A lot of chatter about him a couple of months ago when he came on, having come from the G League, and it wasn't until about 48 hours ago they decided that he is available to play today. Got his t-shirt on, and just so people understand, the rule that is allowing him to play potentially has always been there. This is not a new rule. It's certainly being applied in a different climate. The difference is the London Johnsons of the world now want to play in college because they can make money. And so it's not the rules that have changed, it's the incentives. That's why you're seeing a couple of other G League players and James Nagy at Baylor, who's actually been drafted into the NBA. Not new rules, new incentives. There's money to be made in college.
By the way, Louisville will play Baylor later in the season.
That'll be fun.
Amongst their ACC schedule. Fru had the last basket at the rim. Now he's got the steal for Louisville.
He's good in the open court, too.
He struggled against Duke. He's been a factor in the first half so far. He'll kick it back out. Pryor. Boston College has it.
Pryor's really been struggling, not only with his game, but his health, coming off an ACL tear about 12 and a half months ago. Still working his way back.
BC trying to add to the three-point total.
They're going to be cautious about sending too many guys to the offensive glass as well, because that opens up transition opportunities for Louisville. That's the whole name of the game for Boston College. Limit Louisville's transition opportunities by not turning over and being efficient on offense. 2 things they have not done all season.
Shaw picked up the foul for Boston College. BC 7-8 on the season, 0-2 in conference play. Cards went 18-2 in the 20-game schedule of last year. McKneely off the curl, misses on the 3 attempts.
McKneely now 0 for 4 from 3. He was 1 for 5 against Duke.
A career 42% three-point shooter. Payne shakes the defender. Fru over top, got it to Pryor.
Got to have amnesia as a three-point shooter, but it helps to make a couple.
Remember, Louisville against Duke this week at home. Number 6 Duke had a 9-point lead at halftime. It did not stand up in the second half when Duke shot 71% as a team. So the back out to Kapke. That's the first time this season Louisville lost a game having the halftime lead. Payne with the shot clock at 10. Forte misses. Long rebound. Poked into the backcourt.
Nice job by Hastings to get to that ball. Excuse me, Aiden Shaw with the tip.
Hadley's back into the lineup for Louisville. Taves in there as well. Eight points for Taves, leads the Eagles right now. In fact, he leads all scorers. Fru has 6 for Louisville. Kapke from Taves. Fight on the weak side is won by Pryor. Loss on Tuesday at home, 84-73 to Duke, and now Louisville turns it over. Duke had 3 players score 20 points or more in that victory for the highest ranked ACC team. In fact, there are 5 ACC teams ranked in the top 25 after sending 4 to the tournament last year.
Yeah, well, I mentioned about Ali Khalifa, though. He had 4 of those made threes, 2 for 17 in the second half. Their half-court offense is so out of sync right now without Conwell in there.
Ryan Conwell, who averages just a shade under 20 points per game, out with a knee injury. Missing his first game of the season. He had started every game prior to today. After the miss from Taves, the foul goes against Boston College in the fight for the loose ball.
They're going to get Hastings there on the battle.
Second on Hastings.
Again, you'd rather, as long as they don't pile up, you'd rather a foul than a defensive rebound.
3 OT losses this season so far for BC. At Florida Atlantic, against Tulane, and against LSU in the ACC SEC Challenge. In fact, they haven't won an overtime game since 2022. Midweek loss to NC State at home for the Eagles at County Forum. Hadley, series of moves, determined to get the shot away, and he gets a nice roll. Javon Hadley playing in his 121st career collegiate game this afternoon. And all of a sudden we got a 2-point game. Payne. He rips the ropes for the Eagles, who had missed their last 5 shots, all 3-point attempts. Payne cashes in.
That's really good movement, getting that defense moving from side to side, and now you get caught in the switch. And poor communication on that ball screen, but Freddie Payne making some 3-point shots here today. Boston College offense is hanging in there. You're watching CW Courtside Saturday, presented by Allstate. 2 for 10. Isaac McKneely 0 for 4. If there's one thing that Pat Kelsey would love, is to get Isaac McKneely cooking from 3, because without their best 2 starting guards, their half-court offense is really disjointed. They need McKneely to get some looks, but that's why BC's leading. And some shooting doesn't hurt either.
Fred Payne's another reason, as he knocks down another 3-ball for Boston College.
His second made 3. He's got 12.
Isaac McKneely has made 275 career 3-pointers.
See Fred Payne getting around that ball screen from Kapke. And Roots was a little bit late.
Fred Payne, the redshirt sophomore from Grambling, Louisiana. He's almost doubled his scoring output from a season ago. And another miscommunication by Louisville.
Yeah, I know I've said it 6 or 7 times. I'd like to stop saying it, but Louisville's half-court offense is pretty much a disaster right now. Understandably so.
If you're just joining us, Ryan Conwell out with a knee injury. Michael Brown Jr. missing his 6th game in a row with a back injury. So a wrinkle in that lineup for Louisville. Something they did not want to have to do today, as Ryan Conwell was a decision right before this game, and he could not go with the knee injury. Hadley into the paint, has to kick it out. Louisville turns it over once again as Roots lost the handle. 5 turnovers in the first half for the Cardinals.
BC happy to run that clock.
Earl Grant said we want to play it at a BC pace and get higher quality shots, and that's exactly what they've done so far in the first 20 minutes. Taves was dribbling near the sideline and a foul is called. That's Kobe Rogers. Rogers, the redshirt senior from Cincinnati, Ohio, who got his first start tonight because of the injuries that we've documented. 6-point Boston College lead. They've led by as many as 7 so far in the first half. Don't forget, they've won 4 of the last 5 meetings between the teams. Payne driving into the lane. How about Payne now? 14 points in the first half, 6 of 9 shooting for Payne. On the interior, Louisville gets a little bit back.
Really a good screen and roll with the finishing side. I think that's a good way for Louisville to go. Not working on the outside, trying to get him on the inside. Not only score, but get him in foul trouble. Kapke comes over late on the help, and he's out of position.
Foul on Kapke. Zouguras at the free throw line. Just his 8th free throw of the season. He's exceeded his season average in scoring, which was 2. He's got 3 now.
Well, I think it's indicative of the way this game is going, that Pat Kelsey's looking to mix things up. Still has not gone to London Johnson off the bench, even with the disjointed offense.
Zouguras is seeing action in just his 10th game this season. Kapke baseline around the defender.
Kapke's a really active big guy. He can shoot it from outside. He can put it on the deck. He can spin you inside. I think as a general rule, Boston College would do well to get him more involved in the offense so they don't have to just rely on Hand and Payne. But given the way that Freddie Payne has played today with that 14 points here in the first half, Boston College, little bounce in their step. A lot of confidence right now for these Eagles. Been a rough road for them this season.
Taves picked up the foul for BC, goes to the bench with 8 points on 3 of 4 shooting, and that includes a made 3-pointer. Boston College has 4 made 3s.
Yeah, Taves just giving him an unbelievable first half leg. I mentioned about Freddie Payne having a career-high 24 against North Carolina State. He was 1 for 13 against Georgia Tech the game before, so up and down, but he's up for the 2nd straight game. That's a charge. I thought.
Louisville ends up with it on the run. Wooley sent it to Rogers for 3. That's off target. Fight inside. Close in miss there from Wooley.
When you look at this game and the way it's going, you say Louisville would do well to throw it into the post and get more paint touches, but it's just not what they've been doing all season. They are a 3-point shooting basketball team in the half court, in the transition, off the bus, in the kitchen, anywhere. They're looking for 3s.
Kapke. Payne in the corner. Shot clock's at 3. Quick glance. Gives it up.
BC's ball movement has been so good. Didn't get the bucket, but everybody's getting a touch. Somehow Louisville's got to try to figure this thing out. Going inside's a good way for them to go.
Stolen by BC and Shaw. Kapke to the rim. Double-fisted rim rocker for Kapke.
Bowden Kapke. That is how you flush it. Big fella running the break.
If you're going to wear number 33 in Boston,
I didn't see how,
you got to bring it.
I don't know what I saw Larry do. They're doing a lot of great things. Not that. There's the great pass from Khalifa, the Egyptian magician, best passing big man in college basketball. Let him play the point guard.
Sweet play from the Cardinals for 2 at the other end. 31-24. We go inside of 3 minutes to go in our first half of action, and we've had plenty of that. Hand. He's got a three.
Everything working right now for Boston College. Both ends.
Second three of the game for Hand as the ball goes out of bounds. We'll check on the aftermath of that. How about Kapke?
The rule is when a big fella runs the floor, you better reward him getting ahead of everybody and finishing. Boston College.
From three, and now he's hit double digits. 12 of the last 14 games for the Eagles. And he leads them in made threes this season with 34.
Donald Hand had a career-high 6 turnovers in that game, and he only has 1 turnover today. He's got 6 points. Luka Tay's 8 points. So, you know, different players go through fluctuations over the course of a season, up and down. I talk about Isaac McKneely being cold. So if you're an athlete and you see a couple of balls go in early, and as a team, you see that ball go in early, everybody's got confidence. Everybody's on the same page. Everybody's touching the ball, locked in defensively, managing Louisville's transition opportunities. They smell blood in the water here.
Khalifa picks up his first personal foul.
And I am frankly surprised we haven't seen London Johnson yet. We may not see him today. As I said, they don't technically have to play him, and his red shirt is not burned until he enters the game. And talking to Pat Kelsey yesterday, Tom, he talked about, I mean, he's been on campus for 4 weeks, but he's been practicing with the scout team. He doesn't even know, like, the terminology. They're in the film room trying to discuss what he's going to do and what language they use. He's a good player. He hasn't played in a competitive game since March, so he's not in game shape. Ideally, if this was going to be a blowout win for Louisville, you could throw him in there. But down 8, I'm not sure if Pat's ready to take a chance on it.
Payne denied entry. Had to give it back. Miss on the shot from Shaw.
And then the larger concern is, when do you get Mikel Brown Jr. back? Hard to tell with back injuries, and now we get an offensive foul on Pryor in the open court. So yet another turnover for Louisville. That is their 7th.
Pryor, who only played 7 games last year because of a knee ligament injury in his second year in the Louisville program. Played at South Florida, Boise State for a couple of seasons.
Nice job by Chase Forte stepping in there. I thought that was a good call.
BC last year struggled to a 4-16 ACC record. They are giving Louisville all it can handle this afternoon in KFC Yum Center. You want to stay tuned for today's halftime show presented by Subaru. Love, it's what makes Subaru Subaru. A preview of Game 2, Stanford, Virginia. Women's basketball coming up tomorrow on this very same court. Highlights and stats from our first 20 minutes of Louisville and Boston College. So glad that you're with us for the final 120. Tom Wormy, Seth Davis, our outstanding production crew on CW Courtside Saturday from Louisville, Kentucky. Foul coming up against the Eagles.
It's going to be on Aiden Shaw for botting up Pryor inside. Again, it's going to be interesting to see Louisville manage maybe a little bit of a personality change in the course of this game. Say, hey, I think we can beat these guys inside. I think we can score inside. That includes their guards. They got some big guards who you can invert them and play in the post. So there is a template there, but it is not one they've been following really the last 2 years since Pat Kelsey got here.
Louisville in the bonus for Pryor at the free throw line. 2 of 7 on the season from the stripe, but he adds one there. Grad student from Chicago, Illinois. 6'10", 230, and a forward for the Cards. Stops at Boise State, South Florida. Told you about the injury last year limiting his action. He's got a couple of free throws. How about BC is led by as many as 10 in this first 20 minutes of play.
Now Louisville cranking up the full court pressure, trying to create some turnover opportunities.
Final minute for BC.
That's taking the bait. Pull it out and run the clock. That's exactly what Louisville wants you to do.
Radanovic missed close to the rim, and then Pat Kelsey decides to call a timeout with 51.7 seconds remaining in our first half. 34-28. Boston College has led for the vast majority of this first half. BC shooting 44%. Cardinals at 40% shooting, but just 2 of 11 on three-point tries for Louisville.
5 for 15 from Boston College, so you make 3 more threes. Louisville's made 5 more free throws.
This Tuesday, NXT on the CW is all chaos and no mercy when Joe Hendry takes on Dion Lennox in a no disqualification match. WWE NXT Tuesday, 8/7 Central, right here on the CW. Pat Kelsey and the Cards trailing the visiting Boston College Eagles. Kelsey took his team up to Massachusetts last year and won on the road. ACC Coach of the Year in his first year in the league, making the tournament championship game. Lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament to Creighton in the dreaded 8-9 game, as Louisville was the 8th seed, Creighton the 9th seed. That was in Lexington. Wooley, patient.
Exactly what I'm talking about. Is it bully ball or is it woolly ball? Either way, it's a bucket. Pat Kelsey drew up lots of actions in that timeout huddle there, and it ended up being just a straight-up clear-out for Wooley.
BC will maintain possession on the baseline with Marko Radanovic, freshman from Montenegro, on the inbounds.
Given the way this first half is going, for Louisville to only be down 4, pretty good.
14 points from Fred Payne.
The question is whether or not Louisville can put on one of their bursts, one of their patented spurts, and try to get a little bit of separation. A great first 20 minutes from Boston College. Let's see if they can close it out.
Shot clock down to 7 for the Eagles. About a 6-second difference. Shot and game. Fumbled in the paint. Kapke got it. Chance for the Eagles, not getting the shot away. It was Donald Hand who had it last and could not force the shot up.
I think he sensed the shot clock was winding down, but I think he may have thought he had a little bit more time than he did. Good job by Louisville, locking in there, getting on the floor. Right there, Hand could pull the trigger.
Cardinals' final seconds. They're on a 2-game losing streak. Wooley, who led them in scoring in the first half, never got the shot away. Wooley had 8 points. How about Fred Payne of the Eagles? He has 14, and it's a 4-point lead for Boston College. As good of 20 minutes of basketball as Boston College has had all year. Louisville obviously out of sorts with the injuries to Brown and Conwell. The game is going at Boston College's pace. They're making buckets. They're taking care of the ball. Only lead by 4, but given the way things have gone for the Eagles, they will take it. And Pat Kelsey and his staff, they got some figuring out to do in this halftime locker room. How are we going to adjust and win this? March of 2024, the loss here was the last win for BC at Louisville. Been talking a lot about London Johnson, the G League recruit. Louisville came out of the locker room for layup lines. London Johnson has not taken off his t-shirt. He was standing on the baseline watching the players going through layup lines. I think Pat Kelsey has just already decided he is not playing in this game. They have announced, they did say that they made the decision he is not redshirting this season, which was the plan. And Jaden Hastings with the alley-oop finish at the beginning. After a missed 3 from the corner, BC stole it back. They've done it again. Payne got rid of the defender, and Payne lays it in. Complete unforced turnover by Kobe Rogers. And Boston College with a quick start, and here's another one. That's going to be a charge. Easily called. Blown opportunity by Donald Hand. You got to do better than that. Second foul on a Hand. An aggressive drive results in the offensive foul. I mean, all you got to do is slide around, and what a missed opportunity to have a quick 6-0 burst. He's not even, I mean,
That's almost targeting if we're in football.
Kobe Rogers absorbing the contact.
Missed opportunity. But how about this start for BC?
Popped around inside. Fru able to score it.
That is the path to victory. It's at the rim. Start there and then build your way out. It'd be nice to get Isaac McKneely to get some buckets going too. He's an outstanding three-point shooter. Was 0 for 4 in the first half.
Fru and Wooley lead the Cards in scoring with 8 apiece. Fru made the play on the defensive end with a block. And then the Cardinals throw it out of bounds right near head coach Pat Kelsey.
It's almost like in Space Jam when like Charles Barkley couldn't catch the ball. I feel like that's what I've been watching Louisville all season. It starts with Sananda Fru at the rim, and that gets you a transition opportunity. And then Javon Hadley throws it over to Pat Kelsey. Again, completely understandable with your guards out, and they didn't have a lot of time to practice without Ryan Conwell either.
Fru is the leading shot blocker for this Louisville team this season. Got 20 now in the year. Taves, who contributed in the first half, he'll contribute with an assist to Payne right in front of his own bench.
So funny how shooters get super hot, super cold. That rim must look huge to Fred Payne right now.
How about 19 points for Payne at the other end? It's Hadley with a three-point response.
Finally gets one to go. Fans here in the Yum want something to cheer about. They're ready.
This side of the corner for the Eagles in hand.
Look at Fru in the open court.
The other way, too strong off the glass. Foul was called in the aftermath.
What a weapon to have. A big man who can rip and run like Sananda Fru. Get that defensive rebound. You don't need the outlet pass. Nobody to throw to. As you can see, I mean, that's all of 6'11". Drawing the foul.
The 22-year-old in his first year in the Louisville program. Berlin, Germany, played 4 seasons of professional club basketball in Germany before joining the Cardinals.
A lot of talk about G-Leaguers and James Nagy getting drafted in the NBA, but there are a lot of international players like Sananda Fru who a few years ago might not have been declared eligible to play in college basketball, but more to the point, Tom, wouldn't have even wanted to come because they can make more money in Europe. So college basketball has really been blessed with the addition of all of these incredible international players.
Leading shot blocker and rebounder this season for Louisville. Ball goes out of bounds and to the Eagles, leading 41-36.
The one area of the game that Louisville does have an edge is in the paint, 20-14. Right now, you're gonna have to do a mini personality transformation. But again, here's the full court pressure. Maybe try to create a little offense off your defense.
Out rebounding the opponent, a good indicator for the Cardinals this season. They are 9-1 in that situation. Second leading rebounding team in the ACC. Payne, the rocket, has it swatted away by Fru.
Louisville switching everything 1 through 4. And when you have Sananda Fru, who can move his feet like that at 6'11", look at him keeping up with the little guy without fouling. Payne forcing it there. You're better off kicking out. You got Luka Tays there waiting wide open on the three. Didn't get it to him.
BC will keep it on the inbounds. Second block of the game and in the second half for Fru.
Fred Payne now up to 19 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists.
Kapke, little fall away, soft shot, and it misses. Kapke had a thunderous two-handed dunk in the first half. Wooley muscling his way into the paint, determined to get to the rim. Foul was called.
Boston College did a good job getting back. They're not going to send a ton of guys to the offensive glass because you don't want to get caught back in transition. Adrian Wooley's done a really nice job today using his physicality.
Kapke picked up the personal foul for Boston College. He's got 2 now, with Adrian Wooley at the free throw line, the sophomore.
And this is something to watch because right now Louisville has a 7-1 edge in free throws made. Now 8-1. So that's an area where they can make up some ground on a day when the threes are not falling. And at the same time, you get BC into foul trouble. Now their front court minutes are limited and guys get in foul trouble. They can't guard as hard. That's the way out of the wilderness.
Cards kept it alive off the free throw miss. Hadley went for the monster one-handed jam. Kapke went up to meet him in midair, mind you, and is going to pick up a couple of quick fouls now. He's got 3.
3 on Kapke, 3 on Hastings. Who says we're a finesse team? We're going to attack the rim all day long and beat you with our muscle. Some life in KFC Yum. This is how we do it.
Javon Hadley, 61% from the stripe on the season. Tomorrow, CW Women's Hoops returns as Pitt looks to pull a major upset. They visit number 10 Louisville right here, KFC Yum Center, CW Women's Hoops. Pitt against number 10 Louisville tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. It's only on the CW. Here comes the pressure from the Cards. Broken skillfully by the Eagles. Steger, who just came into the game, misses from tight range, and here comes Louisville. Fru with a lot of dribbling for the big man.
Great denial on the wings by BC.
McKneely found Fru. Taking it to Kapke with the 3 personal fouls. Trying to hold his ground. Can't do it. Fru off the square.
He knew exactly what he was doing, going at the defender with 3. He knows there's no way that guy's going to pick up his 4th on me, and we are tied.
Boston College leading the entire distance until right now. Everybody up in the front row here at KFC Yum Center. Shot clock is at 8 for the Eagles. Taves. Nifty dribble and hesitation for Taves. The miss. McKneely unloads for 3. Batted around.
Roof was ready to go off on this building. 0 for 5 for McKneely. Once he gets a couple to go, it could be off to the races.
He has not scored in the game. Cards trying to back it on down with Roots. And there was contact. Tied at 41. Louisville and Boston College. KFC Yum Center on the CW.
Just 2 starting bigs, Jaden Hastings and Bowden Kapke, both have 3 fouls each. Boston College clearly cooled off in the second half at 30%. So this is going to be a game where Louisville will probably might take the fewest 3-point attempts that it has taken in any game all season. Remember, Conwell averages 10 attempted 3s a game. You see Roots attacking the rim, and Fru with the follow, even though it didn't go. That's the formula for Louisville. And I think they are in very good position right here for the last 15 minutes, even though we're tied. Starting to not feel that way.
Don't forget the Cards, a team that averages almost 90 points per game. That's second most in the ACC.
Boston College's half-court offense is going to have to be absolutely on point right now, and that's a really bad miss from Donald Hand. BC's margin for error is starting to get a little small.
Kapke has the rebound.
Don't like that shot. Go inside, go inside, go inside. Pass or the drive.
BC now 6 of 19 on 3-point attempts with the hand miss last time down the court for the Eagles.
Freddie Payne getting a blow on that BC bench.
Shaw off the entry pass, and a foul was called. Hadley defending, second personal. Grad student from St. Paul, Minnesota. Second year in the Louisville program after transferring from Colorado. Off the inbound, Steger elevates and hits.
Beautiful baseline out of bounds. Important bucket for BC.
Caleb Steger, the freshman from Dallas, Texas, who averages just under 4 points per game. Khalifa is open for 3 for Louisville.
Hose him down. 6 threes against Duke, had made 5 all season long. That'll help.
Does have over 100 made threes in his career. can hit that shot, and he just did, and Louisville has its first lead of the game, thanks to the three by Ali Khalifa. Foul coming up.
Ali Khalifa has not played major minutes in this game. The hard screen, the pick and pop. Kapke is late on the rotation. He loves that spot. Actually banked one in to start the Duke game, and that got him going.
Wooley off of his fingertips. Hadley had it for a second. Boston College crashing the glass with Forte, and he couldn't get it up on the rim. Wooley past two defenders. It spins off the front of the rim. That could be the fourth on Kapke.
That's exactly what that is, Tommy. Starting to pile up. Adrian Wooley, it looked like he was trying to slow up, maybe a little bit of a push off Forte. Kapke, that's one where you just got to let him go. Getting your fourth is not an option. You need to not get your fourth more than you need to prevent that too.
And line for the Cards, number 14, Wooley, shoot.
2 shots for Wooley. Louisville in front by 1. That is an 84% free throw shooter at the line for Louisville. Kapke is officially out of the game.
Now Louisville is going to be in the bonus the last 13-23. Only 2 team fouls for the Cardinals.
So Hastings into the BC lineup for Kapke. And there's 1 of 2 for Wooley. Forte brings it up for Boston College. Hand. That's a 3 for Hand.
Really nice flare screen there from Jaden Hastings. Flared off Kason Fryer. Gave Hand the space that he needed.
Nobody takes more threes. Nobody makes more threes for Boston College than Donald Hand Jr. In and out for Wooley. Khalifa had it knocked away defensively by Hastings.
Beautiful block.
BC on the run. Hand aggressively to the rim, and he's earned some free throws as McKneely fouled him. First on McKneely.
You see Jaden Hastings, he's going to be strong with his body, getting the block with those 3 fouls, a little bit of a risk, and then Hand attacking McKneely in the open court. I think it's good for Boston College to attack and transition when they can. If you don't get the bucket, then you pull it out and run some clock. Early clock, late clock. Looks like McKneely got cut up a little bit. He's going to go over to the bench.
Checking his left elbow.
See Payne Siva on the Louisville bench. Hero of that 2013 NCAA tournament champion.
Third in school history to go along with 86 at 80.
Yeah, I was joking with him yesterday at practice, given the way things are going. Maybe he's still got some eligibility left. Given the way things are going at Louisville, Pat Kelsey may want to put him in. Or his former coach, Rick Pitino at St. John's, needs a point guard. Call Payne Siva. We can get that done.
Last year was the 40th trip to the NCAA tournament for this storied Louisville program. Been to the Final Four 8 times. Sweet 16, 17 times won the NIT back in 1956 as well. What a history for Louisville. Boston College trying to return to the NCAA tournament. Uphill climb this season for the first time since 09. With the free throw attempt from Hand Jr. rims out.
Donald Hand with that hitch in his free throw form. Started off bad from the line, was uncomfortable. Put that hitch in there. Don't try this at home, kids. Look at that. Don't do that. Ball went in. Works for him. Repetition is the mother of learning. If you practice it enough, it'll work. Definitely unconventional, but Boston College has taken a gut punch. Back up by 2. They got to manage this foul trouble. That's going to be the big story for them the last 12 and a half. But they're right in this thing.
Roots guarded by Hand aggressively.
Really good defensive set right now for BC.
McKneely trying to circumvent the Boston College defense. Lost the handle. Hit the deck. Shot clock's at 3. Wooley may have been deflected.
Best defensive possession of the game for Boston College. Everybody completely locked in and connected.
Forte, the grad student from Raleigh, North Carolina. And his teammates hanging tough with the Cards at KFC Yum Center. Hand.
Nobody going to the glass for Boston College again. Better to get back. Make them score in the half court. They haven't really done it today.
4 of 16 on three-pointers. Now 4 of 17 from Louisville. Team that makes over 12 per game on average to lead the league. Foul on the jump shot by Hand. Roots picks up his first, contesting the shot by Hand. We'll step aside for a moment. Boston College back in front. 47-45 on CW Courtside Saturday.
How does nice long rest over there? I hope he's rested up, because if I'm Earl Grant, I am not taking him out. So Boston College got to kind of hang on here. I've been talking about this foul situation. They're in the bonus. Louisville has only committed 14 fouls. But if you're Louisville, that's not relevant unless you get to the line. And to do that, you got to stay on the attack.
Nobody gets to the line more for the Eagles than Donald Hand Jr. 15.5 points per game on average to lead the team.
Aiden Shaw is in the game now up front for Boston College. Kapke's on the bench with those 4 fouls. Jaden Hastings also on the bench. He's got 3. So a smaller lineup here for Earl Grant, which I think helps them defensively. But Louisville's got to try to make him pay down low. There you see Earl Grant, one of the really good guys in the business. He's got a very, very difficult job at Boston College. In this era of revenue sharing and NIL, BC's resources, God bless them, are just way, way behind what's happening around the country.
12 points for Hand Jr. 8th straight game into double digits in scoring. McKneely uncorks a 3 and hits the target.
There it is. Smacks his hands together. Will that open the floodgates? If he can bang in a couple of those, get a little bit of separation, maybe the Cards will be in business.
First made 3 of the game for Isaac McKneely in his first points. Staunch defending by Louisville. Forces a deep 3-point attempt from Boston College.
Kenai Ruth did an outstanding job denying the ball to Freddie Payne and then getting back to the rim. An outstanding mobile defender.
Looping entry pass, dangerous and stolen by the Eagles.
You got to fire that ball in there.
Fred Payne, 19 points, leads everybody, 8 of 12 from the floor. And that includes 3 3-point baskets for number 5 in maroon.
You got to take advantage of the small lineup that BC's got in there.
Payne, fancy dribble, shot clock's at 5.
They got McKneely on him.
Steger trying to force his way to the rim. Recovering defensively was Roots to get a piece.
Kenai Ruth has been outstanding these last 2 defensive possessions.
Wooley had it blocked by Shaw, and so Louisville will keep possession and trailing by 1.
What a weapon when you have a 6'10" guy who can guard the dribbler, move with him, block him at the rim. Look at the athleticism, the extension. No foul called. I think that's a good no call.
So Wooley's at the free throw line. They assess the foul to Shaw. That's his 3rd with Wooley at the stripe.
So every front court player for BC has at least 3, and Kapke's got 4. Hastings coming back in.
Tied at 49 after the free throw by Wooley.
Leaving Shaw in there. So you look at Louisville, they've got Kenai Ruth, they've got Sananda Fru.
Looks like Steger's going to come out for BC. Louisville's had to shuffle its lineup today as well. Leading scorer Ryan Conwell out with a knee injury. Michael Brown Jr. missing his 6th straight game with a back injury. Kobe Rogers is back into the lineup for Louisville. Wooley, after the free throws, leaves, and it's a 1-point Louisville lead. You get the sense, Seth Davis, we could go right down to the wire this afternoon between the Eagles and Cards.
That is my sense, and my hope, frankly. Came all this way, right?
What a fantastic basketball game.
Long flight from LA, man. I want to see a game.
Eagles trying to get to the rim with Shaw. Foul committed by Roots, his second.
So much of college basketball, I always see this during the NCAA tournament, is winning the style battle. There's matchups, there's different ways to win. Different teams want to play at different pace, different areas of the court, different parts of the game. From the moment this game tipped off, stylistically, it has been a Boston College basketball game.
4 of 8 as a team from the line for the Eagles. And their 5th-year head coach, Earl Grant. Tied at 50 after the free throw.
5th tie of the game.
BC had a 4-point lead at halftime, 34-30. McKneely against Taves. Shovels it to Hadley down the lane with a scoop out of bounds. Boston College basketball. And A.J. Desai was right on top of that call on the baseline.
Watch this ball go out. Looked like the right call. No review, no challenge, no appeal.
Coaches can challenge, provided they have a timeout remaining in the game. The officials can go to the monitor last 2 minutes of regulation and overtime, but it is only for the restricted arc or basket interference. Taves double team.
He tried to call a timeout.
Arrow favors Louisville.
Didn't get it in time. Saying I tried to call timeout. That's still better than a turnover, though. Anything to keep the Cardinals from running. I love Pat Kelsey's demeanor on the sideline. He always has great energy, but it's positive energy. There's no panic over there from here. He's coaching up his guys. He knows that he doesn't have his 2 best players in this game.
Took College of Charleston to the NCAA tournament twice before taking over at Louisville. McKneely is open for 3, and it's money from McKneely.
That's where he's at his best. Catch and shoot coming off the screen. Not off the dribble and not driving to the rim. 84% of his shots come from 3, and that's why.
44 made threes on the season for Isaac McKneely. Payne for 3 for Boston College.
Drone man screen from Jaden Hastings. What an answer.
4th made 3 of the game for Payne with 22 points. Wooley looking for some help in the corner.
Here he is again.
McKneely provides it for 3, and McKneely was fouled on the 3-point attempt. Much like Hand a moment ago for BC, he'll go to the line.
And that's 4 on Aiden Shaw. That's a double whammy. And when a guy gets hot, you see him lunging out there on the closeout. You've got to keep your feet on the ground for a closeout on a 3-point shooter.
So McKneely at the line for the first time in the game. He's got 3 free throws. He's 86%, Seth. But prior to that, he'd been to the line just 22 times this season.
Well, he's a specialist. That's what he was 3 years at Virginia. 3-point percentage a little bit down from where it's been in the past, but still 39% is pretty good. Attempts about 7 a game. So you can see why Pat Kelsey wanted him out of the portal.
Roots is back into the Louisville lineup as Javon Hadley goes to the Kelsey bench.
Watch Kenai Ruths on Louisville's defensive set. He's their queen piece on the defense. It looks like he's going to check Fred Payne. There are not a lot of 6'10 guys who are going to try to check Fred Payne, but now they got to switch off of him. They're switching everything.
And now Louisville leads by 3. Nowhere to go for Taves. Guarded by Wooley. Shot clock is at 6. Taves on the hop. Roots the rebound. Sophomore from Washington, D.C. with the basketball for the Cards. Entry pass, Fru sent it right back out. Wooley into the paint. Over the front of the rim for Roots. Cards by 5 and a timeout. Boston College. Standing ovation for the Cardinals. And you're watching CW Courtside Saturday. Presented by Allstate. 58-53 the Bill.
And then the free throw line has been huge. 16-5, so plus 11 Louisville on the line and plus 5 on the scoreboard.
6 made threes for the game for the Cards. 8 made three-pointers, including 4 from Fred Payne for Boston College as we approach the 7-minute threshold. It is Payne.
Here's that small lineup again for BC with Aiden Shaw at the 5. Let's see if Louisville can take advantage at the rim.
Cards have a 10-point advantage in the paint as well. McKneely just throws it up for grabs to Fru, lays it over the front rim.
Take advantage of that size. They pulled Hastings away from the basket to clear out some space. Here's that separation. BC's in trouble, partner.
13 points for Fru.
Oh, Fred Payne didn't know the ball was coming back. Oh, that's the worst kind of mistake you can make right now. Worst kind of mistake you can make right now. Total miscommunication. 9-0 run now for Louisville. And BC is not the kind of team that can come back on you fast.
They need some points in the worst way on this possession. Staring 6 minutes to go squarely in the face.
This has been so like BC's season. They've been competitive in a lot of games. Last 5 or 6 minutes have been disastrous for them.
I mean, how tough a shot for BC from Hand Jr. He almost made it. Scrap on the floor. It's going to stay with the Eagles. 62-53. Cards in front.
Yeah, you can see it. Just Fred Payne didn't know the ball was coming back for him. Adrian Wooley gets the easiest deuce of the night. A little French pastry on the finish. I do that, Tom, by being the more physical team. 16-5, plus 11 on the foul line, plus 14 points in the paint. And it helps to be more efficient from the three-point line. 4 for 8 in the second half after going 2 for 11 in the first. And now BC's got to find some way to dig themselves out of this hole without turning it over and not fueling this run. They do have plenty of time, but the way they play, you're not going to have a ton of possessions here. You've got to execute in your half-court offense.
Sananda Fru has a double-double for Louisville. 13 points, 10 boards. Second of the season and career for him. Defending for the club. Kapke in there with the 4 personals, leaning towards the rim, and a foul was called. Jeff Pond was right on top of it to make the call.
Yeah, well, the defender was not, I don't think, in legal guarding position at that point, but the question is the way he cleared out space at the top. You see Ruths there on the move. Well, I don't know. That definitely could have been offensive. You're allowed to move with the dribbler. That was a bang-bang call.
6 points for Kapke at the free throw line for the first time this afternoon.
Clearly, we know how the folks here in Louisville felt about the call. Maybe ball don't lie there. It's a misconception to say the defender's not allowed to move. That is not true. As long as you got 2 feet on the floor and you're facing the dribbler, you're absolutely entitled to move. You have to be very lucky he's still in this basketball game, and he missed them both. So maybe the ball really is truthful, Mr. Rasheed Wallace.
5 of 11 from the line for Boston College in the game. McKneely has come alive with the 3 ball in the second half after struggling in the first 20 minutes. Fru trying to put it on the floor. Kapke has it. Trying to get to the rim.
Kenai Roofs. Return to sender. What hustle. Winning play.
And now Wooley in the corner.
What a defensive weapon Kenai Roofs is. He can guard anybody, including Tom Wormy.
Fru tough to guard. Muscling his way in for 2 as he battled with Hastings on the interior.
Incredible sequence for Louisville. Started with that Roots block and the 2 missed free throws from Kapke.
15 points for Fru, 6 of 7 from the floor. Easy 2 Steger at the rim.
Haven't seen much of that today from BC. Nice dish from Donald Hand Jr. Catch that with 2 hands.
Kept alive in the corner. 4.5 minutes to go in regulation. And Wooley, both sides of the rim and out. Steger hauls it in for BC. If there's a formula for a comeback for the Eagles, got to involve Hand.
Hastings got McKneely on him.
Foul against Louisville.
Well, that was the right call, but they should have gotten in the ball sooner.
Second on McKneely.
You got Hastings, you got McKneely, you got to give him the ball sooner. That's McKneely moving up into the dribbler, I think. You're not going to get that call. My friend there disagrees. I'm glad the fans can't hear me when I agree with the refs.
Just about everybody's standing up at this point with 4:15 to go in regulation. Both of these teams working off short 2-game losing streaks. It was a home loss for Louisville midweek against Duke, where they had a sizable lead at halftime.
3 straight missed free throws.
And Hastings is just 57% from the line of the season for BC. Kapke missed a couple. Hastings a miss. Rogers handles with a 9-point lead.
Great switch by Hastings. That was reached in. He was in position, and he reached in on him. And that's going to be number 4 on him.
Slightly overzealous in the foul on Hastings. 64-55. The Cardinals have the lead at KFC Yum Center on the CW.
Louisville has absolutely made them pay at the foul line. You go 5 for 12. They're already a bad foul shooting team, but they do make 68% on the season. That's 293rd in the country, and they're well below that today. And you're trying to steal one here on the road against a vulnerable opponent. You can't go 5 for 12 from the foul line. Although apparently you can.
All of McKneely's points.
I should say you shouldn't.
In the second half. He was 0-5 from the floor and 0 for 4 from 3-point distance. And now after the free throws, McKneely with 11, Hadley with 11, 15 for Fru, Wooley with 14.
Now BC's got to get in hurry-up mode.
Taves, they needed that one.
That helps big time. He was big in the first half. That's his first bucket of the second. Is there enough for BC to make this happen?
Double digits with 11 now for Taves.
Rogers may have stepped half court.
McKneely off the curl, catch and release, bounces out. Right to Fru, put the shoulder down, and put the basketball in. How about Fru in this second half? He's collected his second double-double of the season. Against Cal, he had 13 points and 14 rebounds. That was a career high. Kapke back it in. Fru held his ground.
Sananda Fru's had an outstanding basketball game today for Louisville. Eligibility-wise, he's a junior international player from Berlin, first year in the program. One of those big, skilled European guys who just makes you better in so many ways. Blue guy.
McKneely.
That'll just about do it, partner.
12-point lead for the Cardinals.
Louisville's going to finish this game having attempted its fewest three-pointers of the season, without their point guard, without their leading scorer, Conwell. Kapke on the bounce, driving into Fru. They got London Johnson. They say he's not going to redshirt, did not play today. Give him a couple of more days in practice. Throw him into the mix. Get Conwell back, get Brown back, and you got something going. The bottom line for today is just get the heck out of here with a win. Any way you can do it.
I mean, Ryan Conwell, 5th leading scorer in the ACC, almost 20 points per game. That's a lot to make up for.
He's such a dynamic offensive player, Tom. Quintessential 3-level scorer, burns you from 3, gets to the cup, sets up his guys.
Just a veteran player, 119 games in college, first year in the Louisville program. Transfer from Xavier, had 24 points, team high in the loss against Duke.
Well, the good news is, you know, when they look at the knee with an X-ray and MRI, everything was sound structurally, but a lot of swelling. Watching practice yesterday, he had it wrapped, limping a little bit. So hopefully he's not going to be out for too long.
Yeah, Louisville will play Virginia coming up next. They're part of our doubleheader as we take a look at today's player of the game. It's brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Progressive offers 24/7 protection. You bundle auto, home, and motorcycles. Learn more at progressive.com.
Yeah, Sananda Fru did everything but call play-by-play.
Hey, hold on now.
I know that's one thing. That's one thing he can't do best in the building. Everything else he pretty much did, scoring at the rim, and really gave Louisville their size and physical advantage in the paint at both ends. And that's what won in the basketball game. Usually it's the three-point shot. Can't get much more efficient than that. 7 for 8 from the floor, those 13 rebounds. And his defensive presence, along with Kenai Ruth's, their ability to switch off guys, guard really every position on the floor, and even step out and make a three-pointer, which he did. One of those makes was from 3.
And you know, for Fru, quite a response from the Duke game earlier this week, where he played just 14 minutes, fewest amount of minutes he had played in the game all season, had 2 points and 4 rebounds, took 1 shot and made it. It's a different story today against Boston College for 13 and white.
Yeah, well, much different having to go up against Cam Boozer and what he was able to do to them. 27 points. And Ali Khalifa, we talked about him making those 6 threes, 5 in the first half. So Pat Kelsey rode the hot hand there, but Fru has been a grown man today.
Louisville had lost at Stanford on January 2nd. They lost Tuesday against Duke. This is going to stop the short 2-game losing streak. And they'll be 5-3 in their last 8 games with 2 minutes remaining. And an outstanding second half of play for the Cardinals, who trailed by 4 points to BC. They only scored 30 points in the first half. Team that averages close to 90 per game. Wooley just shoving the defender out of the way, and he got whistled.
That's making it easy on the refs for that call. He's had a good game, though, today, Adrian Wooley. Not super efficient, 0 for 4 from 3. But he's been really good driving the basketball, 6 for 8 from the foul line. Points in the paint. Louisville's also been dominant, 34-16.
39-28 on the boards as well for the Cardinals. That shot may have been deflected on the attempt by Hand. So Louisville appears to be on its way to its 12th win of the season. They'll level the conference record at 2-2 and improve to 9-1 at home and get their first home conference victory. Shot clock is down to 4 for Fru against Kapke. And it's just all caving in on the Eagles here in the most recent minutes as Kapke is fouled out.
Very fitting that you go to Sananda Fru to put the Sharpie on the win. He's been that guy all game. Looks Kapke as Dairy Queen.
So Kapke, I think, thought he fouled out, as did many people in the building. He was walking towards the BC bench. He did not get the foul.
Maybe it was on Aiden Shaw.
Although he was defending Fru.
Yeah.
And if it's on Shaw, that's going to be his 5th.
Aiden Shaw is Dairy Queen. As Clark Kellogg would say, I got to give credit to my partner.
BC is going to be disappointed, but the score's not going to really reflect it either. But technically, not a close loss. But again, Boston College, as we told you, 3 OT losses. 6 of their 8 losses this season, they've had the lead or been tied with a minute to play. Not the case today, as Louisville pulls away in the latter stages of this second half.
And it's not dissimilar to their losses against Georgia Tech and North Carolina State. Competitive in those games, staying within contact. But, you know, again, I was talking to Earl Clark last night. We talk about defense wins championships, and that's definitely true. But the game is called basketball. And if you can't score enough baskets in enough ways, especially in 2026 in the pace and space era, it's just going to be hard to beat good teams. Their offense really puts them in a bind. 59 points today, as you can see.
And BC only averages 69.5 points per game with Kapke at the free throw line. Eagles are going to drop to 7-9 and 0-3 in conference play. And 0-2 in the ACC on the road. away from Cotty Forum.
Louisville's going to have a quick turnaround. They got the Virginia Cavaliers coming into town. This is not your older brother's Virginia team. They like to score, get out and go. Really good international player in Tista Ritter. New coach and Ryan Odom. And the ACC is much improved. You think about Virginia, SMU is better. NC State is better. Clemson is Clemson. We saw them last week. They're going to send a bunch of teams to the NCAA tournament this time.
Easy drive from Wooley. SMU had the win against North Carolina, turned around and lost at Clemson to Brad Brownell and the Tigers, who've won 6 in a row.
Also, keep your eye on Syracuse, by the way. Donnie Freeman back in the lineup.
Jay Lucas, now Miami, they've won 8 in a row.
How about Malik Renaud and what he's doing down there?
A lot of good things happening in the ACC for sure, after sending just 4 teams to the tournament last year. Although Duke did make the Final Four. So we've got 31 seconds to go in this game, which is very much up in the air at halftime. Payne. The reason BC at one point led by 10 in the first half and had a 4-point halftime lead. It's falling apart for Payne and his teammates in the second half. So we'll walk back to the other end of the floor for free throws. Payne, despite that most recent miss, 22 points. And that leads everybody in scoring, 9 of 15 shooting and 4 made threes for Fred Payne.
Well, he was cooking in the first half. They locked him up in the second. Great team awareness by Louisville.
Best 3-point shooter on the BC Eagles roster, Fred Payne. Roots at the line. And so Payne will exit the game for Boston College with the 22 points to lead all scorers. It's just 2 below his career high of 24 points for Payne. Steger lost his footing. Kapke grabbed it and laid it in. Final seconds are going to tick off the clock. 75-62. Louisville. Their head coach, Pat Kelsey, victorious. That is career victory number 300 for Coach Kelsey on the bench in his head coaching career.
Well, it wasn't always pretty.